Hey guys, okay, so we've learnt the very basics of NURBS. We're going to go into polygons now, as there's a lot more to do with polygons. So we're just skimming the surface of all these, then we'll go back and do a more advanced version of everything that we've done, okay? So these are the basics. So if I want to create a polygon, I say create polygon primitives, and I can choose any of those things that I want, okay? I can choose a cylinder, I can choose a sphere, I can choose a cube, and so on and so on, and it gives you the primitive of that polygon. And within all of these, I can go into remember my, I call them simple attributes, Control A, I get some of my attributes, and if I go down to inputs, polycylinder or polycube, there it is, or polysphere, there it is, I get different attributes that I can change. How I'm doing that is I just click, make it blue, and then middle mouse button that wheel, and you just go from side to side while holding it down. If you hold down Control, it gives you a finer increment of it. Okay. From there, you can change whatever you need to. From there, just click, hold down your middle mouse button, and swing away, and there it is. Same thing with the cube. I can put in different divisions, and the cylinder, I can, do your radius, you can do your height, boom, subdivisions, okay, caps. So all pretty cool. Create UVs, yes, blah 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 blah, and all that stuff. Okay, so what do I usually start off with? Pretty much, if I know what I'm modeling. I mean, all these shapes are great. You can tear them apart, you can break them, you can build upon them, and whatnot. So I like to keep my things in quads. Quads meaning four sides. So if I look here, one, two, three, four, I like to keep my modeling all with quads, okay, if I can help it. So this isn't quads, this is three sides. It's a triangle, one, two, three. And over here, the reason is, check this out. So if I smooth it, that's what it's giving me. And why is it giving me this funny shape on a cylinder? Is because all the points are leading to that one edge. So it will give me that look. Now if I take this, okay, I've also got sides there, but I can create a cylinder from this just as easy. Boom. We'll get back to this, but this is an edge loop tool, and if I just cut it off over there and there, I get just a way cleaner version of that. Um, so I want to do it on this side and this side, trying to get it the same kind of sides. Let's hit 1. So they're pretty much the same, but if I smooth them, I get an extremely clean cylinder and I get a really horrible cylinder. So this is why I like to keep things always in quads, four sides, okay? Four sides. Um, and we'll get back to that later, okay? So that's the difference. That's a four-sided quad. Let me just get rid of my grid. Click this button over here. Uh, get rid of that. So I like to model in quads, four sides. You get clean shapes instead of something like this, okay, when you smooth it. Um, so let's continue. Okay, so how do I always model something? I'll start by creating a polygon, and usually I start off with a cube. A cube is extremely simple. If I hit F, it zooms up on that cube, or whatever is selected. If I hit F, it zooms up on that. So I always start off with the cube, no matter what I want, what I want to model. For instance, if I want to take something as simple as I don't know, a lollipop, boom, there it is. Okay, no, just kidding. Okay, so let's model a belt and start using some of the tools that we'll use during modeling. Okay, three tools I always, I mean, these are mainly the tools I use is mesh tools, a pen to poly, which what it does, if I take a face, remember right click and I can select anything I want, edge, vertices, face, but if I take a face and I delete that face, I've got an open polygon there, okay? And if I want to close that off, seal it off, I can use that mesh tools, a pen to poly. I'll click on one green edge, and then I can just click on any other edge. I'll click on that one, hit enter, and it closes it off for me. So that's why I use this append to poly. Extrude, what that does, if I take another face, boom, I hit extrude, under edit mesh, extrude, boom, I get to extrude that face. There's lots of options here. Thickness, I can just make a thicker one, translate Z, okay. Offset, divisions, and keep faces together on or off. What does that mean? Okay, if I select two faces, separate faces here, and I hit that extrude again, and I offset them. Let's take it local like that. Now keep faces is on, and there's off, on, off. So it extrudes as one or two separate ones. Okay, which is quite key. So that's cool. Okay, you get it? Yes. Okay. And then the next one is insert edge loop tool. Mesh tools, insert edge loop tool. Now what this allows me to do is start dividing my mesh the way I need it. Okay. So if I need to make like a windows here or something, boom, it's a little housey, and I've got my windows. Now I can go in, take all these faces, or yeah, okay, let's just take all the faces, extrude, faces off, offset, and bam, I got myself some windows, you know what I mean? And then I can just extrude again, push them in, or do whatever you need to do. Okay. And then this point tool. So this is the last one we want to cover. So if I select my house again, and I want to make my own cut, I can do that. I can select a whatever highlights. I can click on the edges and start cutting my polygons the way I want them. Okay. I can add new things, and from there I can go in and do the exact same, extrude, do whatever, offset a little bit, hit extrude again, and well, you get the gist of all this. Okay. So let us create something. Let's create a belt and start using these tools. We may cover other ones, which is good. And let's just see how we can do this, okay? Just using those tools. So all those tools I've just put into here, which help me out, okay? So I'm going to start off with a polygon, cube. Okay, cool. Now I want to create a belt. So I'm going to just widen it. Okay, now what could be easier than doing this? I want to create a belt. Okay, so that's not the cleverest way of doing it. Polygon, and then I'll look for something that can help me out, okay? And for me, that would be a polygon and probably a cylinder. Okay, now I've got a cylinder. Cool. I've got the basis of my belt. I'll go to faces. I'll hit 4 on the keyboard so I can see what I'm doing. And I'll select all those, the two caps, and I can just hit delete. Hit 5 again so I can see what's happening. And boom, instead of trying to model it with a cube, I've already got a belt here. A beautiful belt. Okay, and we're done. No, okay. So now that I've got a belt, what do I want to do with it? Walla walla walla. I want to extrude it. So I'll take my extrusion. First thing I want to do is take an edge loop tool, and I want to create that little bit of. I'm going to hit my scale tool R. Just bring this in a little bit, you know. So we got something like that, or you can bring it out a little bit depending on what you want. Okay, I'm going to bring mine in a little bit. Just a tad, so you get that kind of you know, that little snippet in the middle of a belt. I'm going to bring it down a bit like that, and now I can extrude it. Okay, I'm going to extrude my belt, and I'm going to go to thickness, hold on Control, and bring it just out a little bit, and give it that kind of a thickness. Okay, so cool. I've got a belt. If I hit 3 on my keyboard, okay, look, it's looking pretty cool. I want to sharpen up the edges. Okay. So I'm going to hit 1 again on my keyboard. I'm going to go back to my this tool, edge loop tool, and I'm going to put 1 quite close up top there, 1 quite close up top there. Same thing on this side. And what does this do? It just starts giving it a thicker kind of a feel, okay? It makes it thicker, you can see there. Tightens up the edges a bit, but I want to do that also to the top here, so I can hit 1, and I can just tighten that edge up, tighten that edge up, and so now you've got a lot tighter the edges, okay? You've tightened the edges up nicely. Same thing here, and same thing there, okay? So I've got a cool looking belt. I've got a nice low-res belt. If I hit 3 on the keyboard, um, then I get something more smooth. Okay, I'm going to switch off my grid. It's annoying me. I'm going to go into Renderer, Viewport 2, and I get something looking a lot better in my viewport. If you've got the power, go into the Viewport 2 options and just go scroll down to anti-aliasing, multi-sampling, and just push it up to 16 or whatever your machine can handle. And we get to go now. Now it looks quite clear. It looks good. Okay, I can see it's a belt. Woohoo! Now, what else do I want to do to it? I want to put a pattern on this. Give it like a sort of a little pattern. Now, okay, we'll do the basics first. But if I'm doing it for a game, I would do intricate details with maps, using normal maps or deformation maps or whatever. Because I'm not doing it for a game and this is just an experiment for like TV or film or something, you can shove as many polygons as you want at this thing. Don't go overboard. The more polys, the longer your renders, but you can throw a hell of a lot more than you would with gaming, okay? So there, I've got a belt. What do I want to do with it? Well, I want to put a couple of bags on it. Let's call it like a utility belt for an army dude, okay? An army dude. So I'll select those, the sides there. I'll go to mesh, edit mesh, and at the bottom there, duplicate. So I duplicate those faces, you can see. Then I'll go back to object mode, move, hold down control and deselect the main one. And now check at this. I've got this cool little thing that matches exactly the original. The first thing I want to do is I want to center its pivot. At the moment, its pivot's all the way down there, okay? So if I want to rotate something, whatever, it'll move around the belt nicely, but I want to kind of focus it on that object. So I'll go to modify and center pivot right there, okay? Now it's in the middle. Now if I rotate it, it's doing that, okay? Another thing is because when I rotate this, check it out, it stretches, it goes all wonky and stuff, okay? Why does it do that? Let's open up our outliner, which is Windows Outliner, and I can show you exactly why. There we go, because it's in a group, okay? It's in a group, so we want to take that out of the group. How do we do that? I can just say edit, it's unparent, sorry, it's in a parent group. So I can delete that transform, it's pointless, I don't know why it's there. So now it's on its own, it's not part of that group or parent anymore, and now if I move it, it's moving fine. Okay, so just remember, if you start moving something and it wonks out, it's probably because it's parented under something. Okay, so now I want to make a bag out of this. How do I do that? Well, I can go into my edge mode. Wrong. I could just go into white space. You see, sometimes it'll select the thing behind it because it's not really registering that. See, if I just click there, it's not registering. So you can go into white space, right click and say edge, and it'll pick the thing that's selected. Okay. Now I'll take these two sides and I'm just going to make them a little bit bigger, something like that. Push them a little bit. Okay. Now I want to push this forward, but you can see it's not allowing me to. Now if I double click this move tool and I go to world or object, it's the same. Why? Because I centered my pivot, okay? So it does mess with things sometimes, which is fine. I can go to component mode and there it shows me that it's going straight forward, and it'll allow me to move my bag, those things a little bit forward, okay? So there we go. I've got something like that now. If none of these work, all you got to do is hit insert on your keyboard and select align. Just select one of those things and there we go. I've got it aligned, and now I hit insert again and I can do exactly what I was doing. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to object mode. I want to extrude that bag. Let's get some thickness out of that thing. Now you can see it starts tapering my bag, okay, which isn't a bad thing, but if I don't want to tape it, I'll just go to my normal move tool, which is W, and I can move it out. I can go to insert, align it again, insert, and I can move that out so it doesn't taper. Okay, but I'm good with it tapering, so I'm going to go back to object mode. Sorry, I just undid all of that, and I'm going to extrude. I'll hold down control to get nice accuracy, and I'll make a bag. Okay, it's not the greatest bag on earth, but it's good. Now, if I hit 3 on my keyboard, 3 on the belt, I can start seeing now. Okay, so that's what it's looking like. Let's tighten this up. Okay, hit 1 on the keyboard, go back into my edge loop tool, and I'm going to tighten things. Let's show you what it does. So there's my original, and that's what it's showing me. Now I want to tighten this bag a little, so I'll move one down there, move one about down there. So now I've got a bit of a tighter bag. Okay, it looks cool. I'll tighten the bottom, or I'll tighten the edge side here. See that? So it's tighter on my belt at the back. And what else do I want to do? I'll tighten the bottom. Let's tighten the bottom a little bit. So there we got something kind of like that. And I'll tighten, but not too tight, the top. Okay, something like that. Now I want that like kind of a, you know, the separation of the bag. So how do I do that? Well, I'll grab like a face, right click, face, and you got to select one poly, and then right next to it, because I want to select this entire loop, the one next to it, hold down shift and double click, and boom, it selects your entire loop. Okay, so if I want to go down, control shift double click, and it selects. So first mouse button, select your polygon, hold down shift, go to the one next to it, the loop that you want to select, and just double click, and you've got it. Okay, so now I'm going to edit mesh that. I'm going to duplicate that too. Boom, go back to object mode, move. I'm going to hit 3 on the keyboard. I'm going to hold, so it smooths everything, and I'm going to hold down control and just deselect that part. And then from there, I can, once again, I can extrude. And I'm going to extrude it out thickness, hold down control, and just a little bit, so it gives me a kind of a cool thing. If it's too much, just push it back in with your thickness. Something like that. Okay, that is minimal. And then I can go back to my object mode. I can take my, remember my mesh tools, insert edge loop, and I can tighten this up too now. Okay, I need to tighten it up. So I'm going to tighten it up on the edge there, so I get just a little bit better looking thingy. Let's hit 1 and see where I've tightened this up. I can tighten it up there, tighten it up down here. So I'm getting like good points. Okay, some nice points on this thing. Boom. And let's just see what that looks like. Okay, so now I've got something that looks a bit like this, which is cool. I'm going to center this pivot because I want to scale it, but that doesn't allow me to scale it quite nicely. So I'm going to modify center pivot. I'm going to hold down control and shift and add it to my list here. And now I can just scale this entire thing a little bit. Just get it to my liking. I'm going to hit insert on the keyboard because I want to align it. And now because it's there, it's going to pull it like that, you see, because it scales around pivots. So I could just pull it in a little bit and move it just a tad up. And now I'm getting something that for me looks a bit better. Okay, kind of like a strap now. Okay, so it's starting to look a little bit more like a bag. Then I can start selecting different things, like I want a little side bag here, so I'll take the faces, boom, 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 shift select all of them. I'll edit mesh, I'll duplicate that, and then I'll hit 3 on the keyboard, deselect and center pivot, boom, and just extrude and make a little bag there. Okay, something like that. 1 just to see how big the bag is. That's looking cool. And from there I'll just once again hit 3 and tighten it up. Edge loop tool so I can see what I'm doing, and just tighten this thing up a little. That doesn't look good. Let's make this quite flat against this one. Make it a bit of a bag. You don't need it looking like that. If you don't like it, just stop it, you know. Let's do that so it's not as flat, something like that maybe. I do want maybe one in the middle here, so it just makes it look a bit more like a bag. If it does look like a bag, no one knows. So there, I've got a little bit of a pouch in it, and I want to give it that kind of a rim, like an overlap, so it looks like this top can come off. You can just flip it back. So I'm going to select that. Okay, I don't want this one selected, so I'm going to just deselect that one. Just pick this one, go back into my faces. It kind of remembers what you did last, the selections. I'm going to hold down Control Shift, and I want to select those two. Okay. From there, I'm going to extrude, and then just bring it out a little bit, something like that. Okay. So now if I hit one, you can see I've got like this cool little hit F. I've got this cool little ridge there. You see that comes out a little. Now all I've got to do is take my Insert Edge Loop tool and make it tight at the bottom there. You see that? So now I've got something like that. Now when I hit 3, it gives me a nice little like a nice little overlap there. Okay, so it looks like it's something you can pull open or something, which is cool. From there, I want something that connects these two, like another little belt. So I'm going to take this edge loop tool. Okay, I'm going to edit. I'm going to duplicate that. Duplicate. And just hit 3 on my keyboard and deselect that. So you can see my belts there underneath. So I'm just going to extrude it ever so slightly so I can see it. I'm going to make it thinner. Okay, so it's not going exactly like we want it. So I'm going to select its edge, double click its edge. And from there, I can bring this down. Okay, I can insert, I can align it so it aligns better, and I can start bringing something like that. Okay, so I like that. That looks good. But now I want to fit it nicely, so I need to hit 4 on my keyboard, see where these two are, hit 5 again, and just start bringing it out so it kind of fits around that one too. Okay, hit 4, 5, mold this one a little better, so bring it out a little, bring it out a little, something like that. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. You'll get it perfect later. Okay, now I'm going to take this entire thing again and just scale it inwards, so it's kind of touching there. I'm going to insert it and just align it to there so it works better for me. So I'm just aligning it at the back there. I'm going to push it a little bit in now. It doesn't matter if it intersects a bit. It's all good. It's all good. Okay. We can always change things later. From there, I'm going to extrude it just a little bit, something like that. Okay. And now you're getting something like that. Okay. And now for this, I can just take the vertices and hit 4, see what I'm getting, 5, and I can just push them back in. I can see if any of these works. I don't have to keep on jumping. World, no. Components, probably, no. Okay, so I can make my own. Okay, how do we do that? Insert, I select something, and it'll align that to that axis. So I'll push that in a little. I'll take this vertices and just push them in a little over here so it fits nicer. Same with these here. Just push them in. Little steps, little things, okay? This one, I'll press in a little. And that's looking pretty cool. Over there, I'll press that in. I'll take these over here and just pull them out a little bit. Now, you see how I don't mind if it's not accurate. I don't mind if it goes down a little or up a little because, a belt isn't totally symmetrical like this. It's not symmetrical. So for things like that, I'll take my edge loop tool. I'll put a couple of edges in there. And I'll always just mess them. I'll go back to vertices. So it's just easier for me. Careful, you might select these back ones. So maybe a better thing to do is just go to edge, double click your edge, and you can start just making it not perfect. It's not going to be perfect, Just give it that, it just gives it that realism. Okay, so you could do that. Let's see, pull it out a bit. I'm rotating it a bit so it fits a bit better, and we're good. Same thing with this. Okay, add some edge loops to it. Boom, I want one there, something there, something there. Uh, and you can just keep adding, rather less than more, so you can always change it. So it's good. I'll fit that nicer. This one, I'm gonna push in something like that. Same with this one, just press it in a little. There we go. So now you start getting that kind of it's kind of shrink wrapping around it, which we probably don't want. So I'm going to get rid of it. Boom. Remember, delete the vertices, the empty vertices, and just let's fit this one a little better, and that's cool. Okay, so we don't want the whole shrink wrap effect because it would be taut, it would be tight. Now I'll just fix this up here. There are other ways of doing this, obviously, but for me, this is how I kind of model. I like it. It gives me a lot of control over it, and it's cool. I like it. Okay. I'll just push a little something. Actually, because it's so tight, I'll just bring it down a little like that, so it kind of looks like it's stretching it or something. We'll fix this up later. We'll fix it up in post. Okay, so there we go. I've got like my first bag on there. It's looking good. Okay, let's end it there. In the next series, we'll add upon this. Okay. Thanks for joining me, and I'll speak to you later. This is learning how to model with polygons. Okay, so we'll chat later. Cheers, guys.